This is the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, Jon Solberg. Today, we're taking a look back to February 15th, 2011. Pitmaster restaurateur Tuffy Stone from Cool Smoke stopped by, talked to Greg about a recent disqualification he had with a brisket turn-in. We're going to hear from Tuffy in just a minute, but first, let's check in with the legendary creator of the one and only Blues Hog BBQ Sauce, Mr. Bill Arnold.
Pitmaster Blues Hoggers. It's Bill Arnold. Bill, how are you tonight?
Doing great, Greg. It's great to be on your show. I really enjoy it, and just glad to be here.
Well, it's certainly my pleasure to have you on, Bill. And you know, when we talk about competition barbecues, you've certainly been around it for a while. For the people that maybe don't have that intimate knowledge of how you kind of got into the whole barbecue deal, can you give us a little background about yourself before we actually get into the sauce and the rub stuff?
Well, to be honest with you, I got hungry. But I'm originally from Jackson, Tennessee. Down there on every corner around that area, you find barbecue stands. As a child, I grew up around it and outdoor cooking, stews and barbecuing and stuff like that. So just kind of had a knack for it. I watched a lot of old timers and would hang out with them all night and got into the Memphis and May circuit back in the mid '80s and moved to Missouri back in 1990 and been here for a while. I came up with this. I've been using this sauce for years and years. It's my own recipe. Started out with rubs. We made our own rubs down south. Tennessee likes dry meats. Found out that you could enter this sauce into a contest called the American Royal International Barbecue and Sauce Contest, and ended up winning the thing first time. And we've been a repeat walker down front many years after that since. I know a lot of the teams out there on the competition circuit are using it, and I appreciate all their business and everything. And I'm a single parent of 3 little girls. I wear a side hat as the mayor of Perry, Missouri, population 700. So other than the sauce company, that keeps me busy.
So initially, was it just you deciding to throw that sauce into the American Royal, or when did you actually decide to try and get into the competition barbecue aspect as well?
Well, like I said, back in the 80s, I started cooking the Memphis May circuit down around Jackson, Memphis, around that area, and had developed a dry rub and a sauce that I thought was pretty unique, and everybody else, especially the judges, seemed to think so. And when I didn't have it on the market, but when I moved to Missouri, there was I'm all about giving, and there was a farm family got burned out of their home out here. And their neighbors asked me if I'd cook a couple of whole hogs, and I made up a batch of my sauce and sent it over there. And the next day, the phone started ringing. People wanting to know what kind of sauce that is and where they could buy it. And I said, well, that's my sauce. Well, one gentleman that called had a chain of IGA stores, and he said, I think you got something, Bill. And so I went through the University of Missouri and different, the nutritional fact statement, the barcode to get it in the stores. And so it was just a sideline. I was a tool and die engineer at the time. And, like I said, it was a hobby, but yeah, we had about, my goal was to double my stores every year. Well, after the first year, we had over 100 stores carrying it. And like I said, I was a tool and die engineer, and I walked into work one day, and they sent my job south of the border. So there I was with a single parent with 3 little girls, and I needed a job. So I got out, started hustling, making the sauce and putting it in more stores, and then created a little manufacturing facility, and it kept growing. And so now my products are manufactured by Allegro Fine Foods down in Paris, Tennessee. They make Allegro marinades, and just a great bunch of people to work with. But it actually started out helping others when I do a benefit for somebody that was less fortunate or a cancer patient. I'm recuperating from brain cancer, and I know Scotty Johnson's a very good friend of mine. I donate to him and help him out, and I've been blessed by all the friends out there of mine that are on the competition circuit that use it and spread the word. That's basically how it got started. When you get these teams out there using it and they're winning, it makes me proud to watch them go. I've won literally a couple thousand awards with it, and I've just been blessed. It's a unique sauce. The Tennessee Red is a thinner vinegar-based sauce. It's very unique in its own way, and then the honey mustard has won many top awards in the sauce competitions across the country. It's like the original. It's very unique. It's a hard to describe flavor. It's a mustard with a solid honey flavor to it, but not overwhelming. So my products are easy on the tongue. They're not sharp. I call them sweet with the right amount of heat, just like me.
Absolutely. We're talking with Bill Arnold. You can find him at blueshog.com. You can certainly order off that website too if you haven't done so already. Do you have any idea? Have you been able to quantify any type of number as far as how many teams have won with the sauce in whatever form or fashion that they're using it, Bill?
Oh my, I have no idea. I got a phone call, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, from it was up in the upper East Coast. I'm thinking maybe Maine or somewhere up there. And one of the judges called me, and he said, Bill, I just finished judging a contest, and it was a Blues Hog BBQ contest that every single team was using it. But I have no idea. I know a lot of the teams that do use it. Some of them you have to pay $500 or $400 or $300 to find out what they're using. But I know that a lot of the top teams. I was proud to watch them walk this year and at the awards ceremony and get their trophies. But I get phone calls. I got one today from a gentleman down in Louisiana, and he said, we've been using your products in the backyard division. We're going up the next level to the pro circuit, and you got any tips for us? And I said, based it with Blues Hog. That's all I can tell you.
Do you think, Bill, because it seems to be so popular now, and even the new teams seem to be doing so well with it because of these classes that they're taking, everybody's kind of showcasing what they're doing to win. Do you think people might start to get away from it a little bit on the competition scene?
I don't think so. I'm thinking that, Greg, they're using a lot of teams using my product as a base, and then adding their own flavor, or maybe some honey or some butter or some product to it to maybe even tweak it a step up. You know, I like I said, I put out one product. Of course, I'm really excited about this next product coming out because it is a natural hickory smoke ingredient that we're using. It's kind of like a Blues Hog with a little twist to it, but it will have smoke to it. So I'm thinking that personally that this is my best sauce yet, and I've got more sauce recipes over here than I can count. But I've got a raspberry chipotle that I play with. A gourmet finishing sauce that's got chocolate. I've even got a sauce that tastes like a Thin Mint Girl Scout cookie. But I stick with the mainstream on my three main sauces. Yeah, for selling. Yeah.
Bill Arnold joining us from Blues Hog. Bill, it's kind of almost unfathomable that you think that other sauce might do as well, but I guess time is going to be the test, and if it does half as good, I'm sure that's going to be a raging success in everybody else's estimation. Again, the website, blueshog.com. If you haven't tried it, go ahead and grab yourself up some. Again, we're talking with Bill Arnold. Bill, I appreciate the history lesson as far as how this all got started, and we'll look for you again on the show soon. I appreciate it.
To put in your request for a future show, please contact Jon Solberg via email at jon@thebbqcentralshow.com.
Yeah, definitely a guy that's got a lot of irons in the fire right now, and that's my guest, Tuffy Stone. Cool Smoke is the team name, and then also got the Q restaurant thing happening out there in Virginia. Tuffy, if we can kind of port back into time a few weeks ago down there at Lakeland, for somehow I'm the media maven, and I missed this whole thing as it happened, and kind of just fell in my lap on a Tuesday night, the weekend after it happened, by a guy out west who had heard about it. And everything seemed to be going just great until this whole brisket thing turned in. And I mean, there's probably a couple different angles that we could take as far as how this whole thing was actually even caught on tape. And then it's just kind of out there for everybody to see. So I guess my initial question is, is this society that we live in? I mean, you just got to know that at any point you could be photographed or you could be on video and it's going to be up on the internet forever.
Well, sure. I think just about everybody these days is walking around with a camera, or whether they're shooting still or whether they'll shoot video. I mean, most people's phones these days have the capability of capturing. Also, it's going to be really interesting to see as we continue to go forward. Things that'll be captured, that might have been missed before technology, but and which I think is pretty cool. I mean. And, I'm not one of these cooks that plays games with trying to be on the very last turn in or anything like that. My goal when I'm trying to build boxes, whether it's brisket or any other, is how can I build my box as close to the turn-in window as possible? Because my goal is to give the judges really, just hot food and have it look, just a perfect box. And so I felt like I had built my brisket box, started to begin to build a brisket box on time, and my dad kept giving me time, and it was getting close. And one of the things that, for this particular weekend, and it happens at a lot of contests, but, the clock that was the official clock was a minute off from everybody's cell phone that at least was sitting around me, and I knew that. So, I knew to not pay attention to my time, but my dad was kind of giving me the count as I was building it, and it got to a point where it was getting close, and I said, all right, don't tell me anymore, Dad, because it's not helping me. Let me just finish this box. So I finished the box, and I just took off running, and I was all-state cross-country runner. I'm a real fast runner, even I'm not as fast as I used to be, but I can run pretty fast, and I left out of my sight, and I hit the steps, scaling that wall, and I just was booking. And, the way the turn-in was set up is they had a little doorway that you went into, and then there was the table. And, Johnny Trigg was outside when I came around that corner, and I was just flying. And, took my box to the table, lickety-split, looked up at Carolyn, saw her face, looked down at where the clock was, and her hand was on it, and the clock was down. And just was like, oh, man. I think I said to her, am I DQ'd? And she looked at me, and then and I don't know who the gentleman was at the table. He said, to put your box on the tray.
Yeah.
So I put my box on the tray, and then I didn't have it faced the right way, and turned it the right way. And at that point, I was under the impression that my box was being accepted because of what the man had said. Sorry, but I knew that the phone call was probably an important phone call. So it was my dad calling me from the cook site, and he said, you need to get over to the cook site. And I was like, Dad, I'm doing an interview right now. Can this wait? And he's like, no, you need to get over here. So I go around the backside of the hangar and come over to my site, and it's Carolyn Wells and Wayne Lohman. And I can just tell by the look on their face that what they're there to do, they're not happy about. And and honestly speaking, I've been to many contests where I've seen the reps have to get in that golf cart and do that dreaded drive to somebody's site to DQ them, whether it's ribs getting, two ribs hanging together or something in somebody's chicken, and I've never seen a rep happy about doing it. And
let me give you a plan B. That's what my old favorite TV show used to be, Boston Legal, and they always used to do plan B, where they would tack somebody else that wasn't actually trying to be convicted in trial here. But the same situation is going down here. First of all, I mean, it couldn't have gone any worse for KCBS. You have a video camera. You have the lady that founded the KCBS right there at the table. And then you have Tuffy Stone, a guy who's been on television, a guy who's been KCBS Team of the Year. I mean, you can show up at a competition and people are going to know who you are. There's just no doubt about it. I can show up to a competition and people are going to kick me in the teeth and punch me in the face because they don't think I'm nobody. So if my theory is this: if I would have been you doing that, Carolyn would have told me to beat the bricks. But because it was you, there's just that damn Tuffy, and all these things are maybe going around in her head, and it's merely speculation on my part. But perhaps, just perhaps, some of the celebrity that you've garnered, and of course all of the awards that you've actually earned, might have played into this whole deal just to kind of make it even seem a little bit worse, where now people are like, is anybody getting special treatment? Has this been going on before? We want everything videotaped from now on. Did that ever cross your mind at all?
No, my gut is the way I think that I just described it to you as to why it went down the way. I believe that to be the truth. I've never received any special, first of all, I've always had my boxes on time, so I've never, so I can't tell, typically speaking, I make sure all my ribs are cut and there are 6 individual portions, and that my chicken's not undercooked, and that I'm using the proper garnish. And so, I've never had any issues to test whether I would ever get any preferential treatment or not. But I do believe that, I mean, once again, and I don't know who the gentleman was, but he was the one that swayed the motion. And I think it was an awkward, I hope that all the reps and all the officials in the KCBS are being very careful in the decisions that they make, and that they're prudent ones, and that, for me, being a cook and driving all over the country and spending the kind of money that I do in KCBS, my main goal and the most important issue for me, the most important issue for me is that our contests are being officiated in such a way to where we're all on the same playing field, and that that there's no mishaps that way. There's no mistakes, and so if it took Carolyn, dealing with it in the way that she had to deal with it, and getting Cliff involved and getting Wayne Lohman involved. I mean, at the end of the day, they made the right decision, and it was my fault. I should be clearly more on the inside of turning times and never be that close. And I'd like to say that I'll never be that close again, but I'm superstitious that way, and so I'm going to knock on this bookcase right here. And, I hope I never do it again, but, and I really felt bad, and I'll say this too. It might be real easy to look at that video and see how clear, how, to me it still looks close, but I know I'm biased.
And there you have it. Greg's conversation with Bill Arnold and Tuffy Stone from February the 15th, 2011. If you want to hear the rest of this show, head on over to the bbqcentralshow.com. The link for this show is in the show notes for this show. While you're there, you know the drill. Please subscribe to the BBQ Central Show via podcast. Never miss an episode of the BBQ Central Show or this show again. Until next time on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less, I'm your host, Jon Solberg. I will talk to you soon.